I've never in my life been so disgusted with so many people at once. I always heard that the Blizzard forums were not very hospitable, but I never went. I found it by accident, actually. I happened to be browsing, and I came across this topic where this guy reasonably says that Blizzard shouldn't ban people so much. And that stands to reason. People are taking money out of their pocket to pay for video games that they play, and meanwhile Blizzard's going to tell them that they are not welcome on their forum, even though they are consumers. They are putting money in your pocket, they are putting food on your table, but they are not worthy of posting on your message board? How fucking full of yourself are you? What the fuck is wrong with you? And I will link to the topic, and you can see for yourself that nothing he says is remotely wrong or bad, and at that he doesn't even say outright like I would say that you don't have a right to ban people and you should be arrested, your ribs should be cracked open, and you are a fucking terrorist if you ban people. He's not even saying that. He's just saying, could you cut it down a little? Does it have to be that severe? And they attack him. You can't afford to be moderate with these people. They're savages. They're criminals. They're thugs. They are not going to cave at any stretch of the means. So, essentially, for just taking the most moderate position imaginable, just less bans. And they attack him, they ridicule him, they're smart. You know what's ironic? They talk about how he cursed in his post, but yet they sneer and they snarl and they're so smarmy. Your mother should have smacked you upside the head. That makes no sense to me. How you're going to judge a person by his use of language, but you're not going to judge yourself by your attitude. A bad attitude is worse than any bad word. If you don't see that, you were not raised properly and your mother should have had an abortion. I've compiled this chart about statistically the likelihood of meeting a good person, a person that respects the right to freedom of speech and by extension is a decent human being. I use this calculation by suggesting that the average 4chan, and 4chan's a small board, but it'll do for this math equation. 4chan gets about 30 posts in an hour if the topic's good. So 30 times 24, because 24 hours in a day, let's say 750 people. Just throwing a number out there. Okay, so out of 750, how many of them are good people? Well, I can't count Anonymous, because even if Anonymous defends, my anti-ban position, it doesn't necessarily count, because how do I know who's who? So I can only go by the identities of people. They need a trip code. So let's say 4 good people, because Glitter Snatch, Liberal Feline, Blart, and Down with Patriarchy. And at that, some people think Down with Patriarchy and Glitter Snatch are the same person. But for the sake of this argument, I'll say they're different. Okay, so what is the percentage of 4 by 750? That's about 0.53 by the 10th power. That means it's less than 1 in a trillion that you will meet a good person, a person that actually respects your First Amendment. The chances of winning the lottery are about half that. So the chances of you meeting an outright good person, a person that will respect you and treat you like a human being, is only about double that of hitting the lottery. That is pretty fucking insane. And the chances of, well, I already put, there's about 115,000 abortions a day. See, I find it very hard. I find it harder and harder to be against abortion when I see all these people. I'm a little tired right now, so my words might be a little cluttered. But I used to be pro-life, but I find it very difficult to be now. My point is that if there's 115,000 abortions a day, how many of those statistically are moderators or moderator sycophants? Well, 60% of people that get abortions are white women. But blacks and Hispanics get more abortions in their lifetime than white women. Blacks about 3 times the amount, Hispanic women about 2 times the amount. So, and 64.4% of them are unmarried women. So what does this tell you? Well, this tells you that the average person that is a moderator, or at least defends moderators' ability to abuse you and terrorize you, is most likely comes from a good background. They most likely come from a married couple that lives in a good neighborhood, a nice white suburban, white bread town. That's the likelihood you will come across a moderator or a smarmy son of a bitch who thinks that naughty words are worse than a naughty personality. They think that their, good-for-nothing serial killer attitude makes them superior to someone that uses the occasional F-bomb. So, what does this tell us? Well, if you ask me, this tells us that we need to try to lessen the amount of abortions committed by black women, Hispanic women, and unmarried women, and increase the amount committed by married women and white women, because they're the ones giving birth to moderators. I'm not suggesting that a black person can't be a moderator, or that a Hispanic person can't be, or just because you're poor you're automatically a good person, but it seems to me that there is this entitlement to being born in privileged environments that might have a link to their attitudes, to their outlook on life. And that explains a lot. Because if you ever see moderators, they're always these pretentious, snub you with their nose, stick their nose up at you, white devils. I don't know how else to explain it. Richard the Rapist Bueller is white, Stee is white, freaking Mood is white. They might be Jewish white, but still, typically they're white and they come from good backgrounds. Mark Zuckerberg is probably extremely Jewish, but he is also white and very, very rich. He was rich before he even invented Facebook. My point is that if you're going to talk about abortion and you're going to talk about pro-choice versus pro-life and all this, I look at it purely mathematically. I look at it purely objectively of what helps humanity and what doesn't. And ironically, when I use the Bible as a scrying device for clarity, I came across Samuel chapter 8, I believe. I don't remember what verse, but essentially it was saying that Samuel cursed the kings and peasants alike for having child sacrifice. They said that child sacrifice is alien to the Lord God, that he doesn't mind animal sacrifices, but God despises human sacrifices. I don't necessarily believe that. I use the word sacrifice, but that's just an archaic term. When I mean sacrifice, what I mean to say is that it's alchemy. The same way we slaughter the animals on this planet and we pillage the earth and soil so that we can build mini-malls and targets and freaking factories and, anything, windmills, whatever. The point is, we are making a sacrifice. We are sacrificing the lives of animals to extend human innovation. We can only build those things by plowing the landscape. So what Samuel is saying that is it's okay to sacrifice beasts and plantation for the sake of good, but it's not okay to sacrifice humans for the sake of good. Samuel apparently was not for eugenics. But that's what you need to learn, that's all sacrifice is. I mean, I think in their minds they truly believe that that would appease some kind of divine being, but in essence I'm saying sacrifice is a form of eugenics and it's a form of science. It's the science of what will happen to humanity several decades from now. You can't look at it as like right here, right now, not even 5 years from now. You have to think about a couple generations in advance what will happen when you do these things. And I'm telling you that if we were to find some way to get black women, Hispanic women, and underprivileged women to stop committing abortions, but get more of these uber-privileged, pretentious white people that live in good neighborhoods and have lots of money to commit abortions, we will have a better society. Not necessarily because, someone's smarter, or someone's better looking, or someone does better in school, but because initially there seems to be this link between your environment and your personality. And if we have people with better personalities, well, then everything else just falls into place. So that's what I'm trying to get across to you here. All the people on this forum, their mothers should have had an abortion, and I wish to God they die. I guess that's it.